All right. So once again, welcome. And, you know, I do replays of this on YouTube, and I also do a replay of this on our podcast. So please, if you are listening to this anywhere other than the live on the Facebook group, give us a like, subscribe, follow us, leave a comment below, and let us know what you think. Today, we are going to discuss caregiver recruitment, but I'm going to specifically talk about the role of reviews and social proof and how it impacts recruitment in general. So, one of the things that we always talk about, and it's not just me, anyone who has ever talked about business growth or anything will tell you people need to know what others think of you. It's called social proof. Whether this be a Google review or a review on your website or anywhere else, people like to know that they are dealing with a trusted source or someone who is reliable. There's in as the technology advances, this becomes more and more prevalent, and it becomes more and more important. You know, it a few years ago, about 5 years ago, we're not even talking about that long, only 20% of consumers used reviews as a method to judge the reliability, trustworthiness, and dependability of a service provider. Today, that number is close to 90%. You have people that barely can use technology and they're asking around looking for reviews directly, or they're asking people, hey, what are you hearing, because that's today's version of word of mouth. Social proof is today's version of that. It used to be that if you wanted a good home care agency, you would just call, hey, you know I saw you had somebody there taking care of your mom, what do you think? And while that is still incredibly important, and building that referral base, the fact is, if somebody's just shopping around and they've never done this before, the first thing they're going to do is do a search on the internet. Once they do the search on the internet, they're going to look for social proof. Well, the concept still applies to recruitment. See, this has been a growing trend, and it's something that's been happening for many years, and the same principles of word of mouth apply in the sense that back way back when, let's not even that long ago, let's talk about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. As many of you know, I started my career in home care as a recruiter, and I actually developed a way of recruiting, working with labor departments and with other ways where I used to do mass recruiting. I would very literally have 50 to 100 caregivers in a room and work it out. Now, I used to get asked all the time, how did you used to get that many caregivers to come running to see you just to apply for a job? The company I worked for was not the best paying company. They were not they were not always, like competitively I'm talking about. At the time, um their minimum wage was, I believe, like 450 an hour, and the company was only paying like 650 an hour. Not great. It's the equivalence of today, minimum wage in New Jersey, for example, being 12, and somebody paying 14 just to stay slightly above minimum wage. It's the same concept. And so how is it that if somebody's paying 14 and everybody else is paying 17, were people still willing to come to apply for 14? Well, it was word of mouth. People knew that I was consistent, I was actually giving jobs, and they knew that the agency I was trying to bring them into was putting their money where their mouth is. Like, if they were hired, they were getting hours. They weren't just getting, that one case for 12 hours a week and then getting tossed to the side. They were able to put together a full schedule if that's what they were looking for. All right. And that reliability, that trustworthiness spread throughout the community and amongst the community of caregivers, which, as you all know, is very tight knit, and it led to the dependability. All right, so now let's translate that into today. All right, by today's standard, what happens? If you are doing everything right, it doesn't matter if you're the best paying company or not. What matters is, are you providing the rest of what they need? Are you able to provide them a full workload? See, at the time of this recording, we're still dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. All right, so let's think about this. As of right now, there is a boost of $300 for unemployment. That when this next stimulus package gets approved, it's going to go up to $400 and it's going to be extended out into September. How are you going to compete with that? You can't possibly pay, in some states as much as $800-900 a week for a caregiver. There's no way what you're billing is likely not going to be able to support that high of a wage. So what do you do? How do you entice people? Well, this is something that I've actually spent the last couple of months talking to a ton of caregivers. I've spoken easily to about 300-400 caregivers across the country. And this is the biggest concern that I have found. Why am I going to give up my unemployment check with that boost for an agency that, they're going to give me maybe 20 hours a week? So even if you're paying $20 an hour, that's $400 a week. You're still not competing with the unemployment boost that's being given out by the feds. Thank you, Andy. This is why I actually am doing this, because in another group, I belong to a bunch of groups on Facebook, and I've just to see what people are trying to find out. And this is something that was brought up. And one of the things, that the misconceptions are, somebody very directly said, "Oh, you're underpaying your caregivers." I've said this many times, and anyone who's followed me or has known me personally or worked with me will hear me say, you don't have a recruitment problem, you have a retention problem. I promise you, if you're paying your caregiver a decent wage, competitive, I'm not saying don't undercut them, but you don't have to overpay. If everybody else is paying $14-15 an hour in your area, you don't have to pay your caregiver 20 to get them to come with you. I mean, that'll work short term, but let's be realistic. What the hell's the use of overpaying a caregiver if you are not able to retain them? Look, a caregiver on average, all right, will work for you for 3 clients. If your average client produces $11,000, that means that caregiver is going to bring you $33,000 worth of revenue. Now, if you take into account the 40 to 50% gross margin, that that's going to leave you about $16,000 in profit, in gross profits. All right. So that's great. Now, if you're paying that caregiver $15 an hour, you are giving this caregiver 31,500, give or take, to bring you $13,000 worth of profit. I'm sorry, 16,000 worth of profit. So why are you overpaying? Why, if everyone is paying $15, why are you paying 18 or 20? Especially for someone new that's not been tested. So again, this is a short-term fix for a long-term problem. I say pay your caregivers competitively. Stay in your lane. If the local market bears, 14, 13, 14, $15 an hour, then that's what you need to pay. All right, don't try to go above and beyond. Just stay in your lane, especially right now with the PUA, or that pandemic unemployment assistance going up. You're gonna really, staying in your lane is going to become much more important, simply because you're not going to be able to compete against whatever your state unemployment is paying, plus an additional $400. I mean, if you can, great, but I predict you're billing your clients about $50 to $60 an hour, or you're operating on such a thin net margin that you're wondering how you're going to keep your doors open long enough to make the next payroll. You can't fix both problems at the same time. All right. So, what happens? Why am I talking about, or why did I begin talking about social proof with your clients? Well, because the same principles apply with your caregivers. Look, one of the most popular job boards right now is Indeed. Everyone loves using Indeed, followed by ZipRecruiter, and then in this industry, there's other ones, caregivers.com, um, next door. There's what's another one? ZipRecruiter, I think I already mentioned it, Monster, Glassdoor. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of places you can recruit online. You can even use Facebook, and I've talked about this and even put a sample description in the resources tab in this group on how you should set up your group. I even did a video on this before. The fact is, there's 100 ways to do this, but are you missing out on possibly the number one recruiting tool that you have, and that's your existing caregivers? Just like you need to go to your clients and ask them for a review on social media, listen to me. And please, if you learn nothing else from this recording, from this video, understand this: Indeed has a place where your employees, current and former, can leave you reviews. Google lets people leave you reviews. Take a look if you haven't. What are people saying about working for you? Are they saying you are fair? Are they saying you are cheap? Are they saying that you're a great company to work for, but you don't give enough hours? These are the things that you want to do. Listen to your people, and your best ones, the happy ones, make sure they're leaving you a positive review. Send them that link to your company or to your company page on Indeed if you have a corporate account set up. If you don't, that's fine. Don't panic. Don't go spending all this money on Indeed if that's not in your budget, but send them a link through Google My Business. I hope all of you have Google My Business set up. Send out an email. You have a way to contact them. Do a mass text. Send this out to your existing caregivers. Hey, listen, please leave us a review of what you think it is, how your opinion is to work with us. Are you happy here? If you're not, talk to us first before you leave that bad review. The next thing is, please keep in mind, when you're getting these reviews, good, bad, or indifferent, are you responding to all of them? Are you just letting people put these reviews on your Google My Business, on your Indeed, on your LinkedIn, on your Facebook page, on whatever other platform, Care and Homes, Aging Care, My CNA Jobs? People leave reviews everywhere. Are your caregivers leaving reviews for you? Number one. Number two, are these reviews being responded to, or are you just an empty voice? So let us know in the comment section. Let us know what you're doing. How do you respond to reviews? Are you taking advantage of the ability to collect reviews from your employees? Also, if you did watch this video or listen to the podcast and come back, let us know, how did it work out for you? All right, so thank you. This will be on our morning meeting show, and you know, hope you guys have a great weekend. It was, I hope this has been helpful. All right, take care, everybody.